Hello and welcome to episode 40 of the Youth Intake Challenge. A bit of a blockbuster episode. We've lost our best sign-in for a paltry fee. We've had a bounce back in the league, so form's gone up. We've got an outside chance of the playoffs, and we've got the Youth Intake to look forward to. So let's unpack it and see how we go on. And here we go then. So I'm not going to the schedule or the competitions first this time. The heartbreak has happened. My favourite player, Kasaba Rakso, has moved on. What makes it even more of a pain is we were touted getting 5.3 million from an American club. Cardiff came in. I didn't realise when I redid his contract, I was forced into putting a minimum release fee by his agent of 1.8 million. Cardiff have snapped him up. And what really is the kicker is his current value is 16 to 19 million. I know that's largely based on what his wages are and his long-term contract, etc. But it does sting a little bit that we couldn't have got a bit more pennies out of him, and we couldn't have at least had him for the rest of the season. They did offer him a loan back, but the rules of the challenge is even when we sell players, we don't take them back on loan because it breaks the rules. It's youth intake only, so we've let him go. I thought that was going to massively impact how we were doing in the league. However, when we go back to the schedule, all the way up to like Colchester, Blackpool, I think we'd have a rough patch of form. Even through December, we weren't doing particularly great. A few losses mixed with a couple victories to keep us kind of in and around it. However, since we've gone through January and Raxo's left, bizarrely we've been on a bit of a run. So we beat Colchester 3-1. Goals from Brathwaite, Atienza, and an own goal helped us over the line. Got a couple draws against Blackpool and Oldham. Dean Spencer, Todo and Peterson with the goals in those games. Couple victories. Tony Dunk, I mean, he's probably the next big emphasis of a star for us. 2-0 up and a last minute goal from Forest Green, but massive 3 points. Beat Crawley again. Tony Dunk with another 2 goals, so that's 4 in 2 games for that. Sheffield Wednesday, one of the big teams in the league, who gave us an absolute pounding earlier on in the season, if I remember rightly. I'm sure we took a big 3-0. We got a big 3-0 paced in, so a bit of revenge for that. A Peterborough match was absolutely electric. 5-5 it finished. I think at one point we were 4-1 down. We managed to get 5-4 up, but in the last minute John Holden got an equaliser, but it's probably fair that they left with a point in what was a truly terrific game. And you can see there Robert O'Farrell, he made his debut, left winger we've had at the club for a little bit, because obviously when you get through the January-December periods, it's very, very tiring on the legs of the player. So he got his debut, got 2 goals. You can see Mergham Tahiri as well. He's got a couple more appearances recently since Raxo's moved on. And again, another victory at Watford. And just when it looked like we were just creeping up into maybe even challenging for an automatic spot, Bristol Rovers came and beat us. And what was even more frustrating was that is for a large portion of the game they only had 10 men, but we just couldn't get the ball in there. I think we had 2 goals disallowed in that game as well, which was really, really frustrating. Bounced back with a 2-1 win at Barnsley. Dean Spence and Eric Lynch with the goals. And then just up until now we've had 2 draws. Another brace from Tony Dunk and a 2-2 draw with Sheffield United, which I think we came back from 2-0 down, which was a fantastic point. And then Portsmouth, which was 0-0. We're probably hanging on a little bit in that game. We're probably unlucky in the Sheffield United game in respect of how we came back, but quite fortunate Portsmouth didn't get a goal in that game. These are 6 games to go really. In the league we're 4th. We're only 4 points out of the automatic position against Colchester, so there is an outside chance of us eking in there. I think it's probably more likely we fight and hold on to a playoff spot, although Bristol Rovers will probably want to say something about that. But that's where we are with that. Looking at the squad then, I mean, nothing's really changed. Obviously, we've got the youth intake rules. I've brought a couple players up and shifted a couple players about. I've renewed the bulk of the contracts. So we've only got Farrell and Borrowdale waiting on a contract offer. Farrell's offer has just gone in because I think with the goals he scored recently, 17, and the potential he's got some quite good stats in there. He's pacey, he can dribble, and he can finish. So we'll probably sign him on. I have selected a huge number of players to go released on a free at the end of the season, so there's going to be a bit of a big clear out from the reserves. So hopefully the intake is going to be a good one, at least better than the last one, because last one wasn't particularly great. Other players that have done all right. I mean, you've got the traditional ones like McAvoy's been great, Friday's been great, and with Raxo going, there's been a huge number of bids coming in. It's probably worth talking about as well. Is Christopher Friday and Jedi Mandanda? They're trying to steal them at really paltry fees, 600k. I mean, with initial 105 for Mandanda, there's no way I can let him go for that amount of money. However, when their contracts are due renewal, their agents are already trying to put in minimum fee release clauses for them. So expect more turmoil with Friday and Mandanda as we move forward. In terms of club vision, although we'd failed that one we'd seen last episode, I have gone to a more attacking style within the tactics. So rather than playing cautious, we're playing attacking. That's probably done a lot of the upturn in results, actually, is we've gone a little bit more on the offensive. It's worked out for us a bit, and we've picked up a few more points, so it's kept us in the race. We're still not favoured to really do too much. In terms of the finances, you can see we're still 1.3 in the red, and you would think that we would be in the positives having taken a 1.8 transfer fee. However, what I did straight after the transfer went through is I made a board request to improve the youth facilities, and after a bit of discussion they've accepted it, and that came in at a fee of 1.5 million, I believe, which will be completed in 5 months. So the positive that came out of him going was that we've managed to improve the youth facilities. I still haven't been able to get the training facilities upgraded. We've not got the pennies or the finance clout for it, but we are trying, and I think it's a massive step in the right direction. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click through the next 6 games and see where we come out. Well, in fact, we'll get to the youth intake. So into the youth intake, and again, I've already pre-seen this because it popped up, which is when I stopped. But like we did in the last intake, we're going to get rid of the decent talents, the good talents, and we're probably only going to take the top talents and the elite talents. So we're going to miss out on like a left wing back, a few left midfielders, a striker, Gifton Deeth, who I think I've seen Deeth somewhere else. Yeah, Douglas Deeth. So maybe they might even be brothers. But from Ben Thompson upwards is probably who we're going to take. I haven't looked at them. I've just seen them on the screen. But certainly I think it's better than the last intake. We've got 2 elite talents to look at, one of them being a striker, so hopefully he can be a bit of competition for Dunk. So without further ado, before we go through the rest of the season, let's get into the youth intake. So Ben Thompson, wide midfielder on the right. I'm not really keen on a wide midfielder. I much prefer when they come through as a winger, but let's have a look at him. Fairly determined, good pace, good fitness, good acceleration, so it's what I like in a winger. I'd probably want him to play a bit more advanced. Dribbling, finishing, first touch for an inside forward, not great. If we put him on as a winger, lacking a bit in terms of technique. I mean, how much does that affect his... Yeah, so he's got a little bit of work to do. He's only 15. Not too bad in terms of the physical stats for the position he plays, but looks a little bit lacking. However, we will sign him up and see how he gets on. I don't think he's long-term competition for Silverio or Mal Taylor on the right-hand side. Following Ben Thompson, we got Collins on Yango, a right back, which is good, a wing back. I think we play full backs at the minute, but Collins and Yango, well, straight away his physical stats jump out at me. Balanced personality, 194 centimetres, that's massive. Good work rate, good technique. As I said, physical's good, brave, good aggression. Crossing's not too bad as well. So actually, at 15 years old, he looks like he's going to be a really good player. Good competition with Coleman at right back, and he's a definite, maybe long-term centre half. I'm not sure. Marking's a bit low, tackling's a bit low. I think definitely a full-back, not a centre half. Matt Mulligan, a centre half then. 187, not quite as tall. Good jump in reach. Tackling position's alright, good work rate. Physicals are pretty good again for a 15-year-old. Mental side, he's got some good stats in bravery and aggression. Determined player and fairly sporting. So, and I like his hair, great hair. We'll keep him just for that. So Matt Mulligan, we'll sign him up definitely. Ball winning midfielder Douglas Deeth. I think it's the 3rd ball winning midfielder we've had in recent intakes, which is good because it takes us away from the playmaker year in year out. However, at some point we needed to switch back to get a few more creative players in there. So Douglas Deeth, left-footed, good at tackling, work rate's a bit low, he's fairly determined, his physical stats aren't as high. I would have liked maybe some of the fullbacks' physical stats there. They're not that far off being double figures, but aggression and bravery is good, determination's good, and I'm sure with a couple of years development he might well turn out to be a good player. Danny Calder, a goalkeeper. We did speak that we needed a new goalkeeper. I'm not sure he's got the potential threshold to go in excess of the ones we've got at the club already. However, I do like he's got high reflexes, good decision making. He's a mercenary. I'm not sure how that's going to affect us long term, but again, fairly young and a lot of development. 184, so not too short for a goalkeeper. It's pretty good. Into the elite talents then, so the ones that we're really keen on. So Berat Oza, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it or not. 1.5 star current ability, 5 star potential. We're looking for pace and crossing. 11's not bad. Alright acceleration, he's determined, matches his personality. Good technique and work rate. Needs to work on his crossing and dribbling, but he's got potential. If he can get anywhere near that, gets into the opposition's area, does not dive into tackles. I wonder if he's maybe a bit of an inside forward type then. His finishing's 10, that's not bad. In fact, dribbling, finishing, first touch. I think actually if you did that, that might be where he's more suited to. But yeah, definitely one for the future. And then a forward, so James Healy, what are we looking for from you? Advanced forward, which is good. I don't want him to be deep line or poaching because we only play one. But we want good finishing, some good physicals, and some skill. Let's see. Pace, bit low. Ooh, finishing first touch, really good, 15 and 14. He can just about do double-figure dribbling as well. Good technique. Work rates, just above average. Determined. He's got a little bit of flair as well, which I like. Quite short, though, at 174 centimetres. 15-year-old from Ireland. I think we found ourselves a long-term second fiddle to Tony Dunk up front. So not a bad intake. 6 players. I think we're definitely losing more than 6. I'm sure when I did the contracts I let a huge number go, but that'll be in the next episode. What I'll do is I'll get through and I'll play the next few games. If in the schedule it looks like we might get an automatic spot somehow, and I don't think we're playing any of the big teams in there, then I'll bring us back for that game. Otherwise, if it goes to playoffs, I'll come in and I'll show you the playoff games. But until then, stay with us and I'll be back shortly. Welcome back. So the final 6 games have been played. We didn't quite make it into the automatic, although we did technically get it to the last day. However, we were a 7-goal difference behind Peterborough and 3 points behind going into the last game of the season. We tried almightily to beat Charlton by a huge number of goals. We had lots of chances, but could only get a 2-0 victory in the end. Peterborough did lose. They lost 2-1, but that wasn't enough to make a big enough goal swing in our favour. Still 4 goals behind. So there is a little bit of disappointment in there. We won 5 of the last 6 games. Unfortunately, we slipped up in the first one. We just couldn't get a goal against Oxford. And ultimately, that's the one that's cost us the biggest. But the rest of the game's fantastic. Thing to note really is Eric Lynch, who scored 4 out of 4 games that he played in. Coming in midfield because we had Mandanda was out injured, and he's been an absolute phenomenon since he came in here. Northern Irish midfielder, not played a huge number of games this season, only 18, but 4 goals in them 4 games has been massive in putting us to where we are now. So playoff bound, I will get through. I'll probably play the first game of the playoffs. If it's looking comfortable, I'll save it for the playoff final if we can get there. We certainly look like the form team. We're well clear of some of the other teams in there. We've recently beat Charlton and Swindon, so hopefully we can make it to a final and make a big blockbuster finish to the episode. So stick around and we will have a match of some sort for you. And welcome back. So as you can see on screen, we have made it to the playoff finals. We won the 2-legged tie. We won 2-1 on the first leg. 2 penalties from Mandanda, and then in the second leg we drew 1-1, and that puts us through to the final against Colchester. Colchester, incidentally, one of the other teams to come up in the playoff, in the promotion with us last season. So as Scunthorpe, Lincoln and Colchester were the teams to get promoted last season, and as you can see, it's now us v Colchester to see who secures the double promotion. It's quite rare. Hopefully we can do it. Hopefully we can get over the line. I'm not entirely sure whether the championship might be a push too far. I think we've far and exceeded the expectation. However, we did get stuck a little bit further down at the start of the save. So if we look at the history, we can see we were in League South for quite a while before we got out. The National League took a few years off us as well. League 2 took a couple of years. However, we've gone 5, 4, 3. I mean, in theory, it should have taken us 2 years if we kept on that same vein. But we have a chance now, 1 game to rule them all. So we'll play that one on camera. Other news to tell you about, because this has taken an absolutely massive turn, which is huge news. And I'd kept it quiet, but we were under a transfer embargo. So we were in a takeover. The takeover has taken place. So there's a consortium taken over. Investor Cameron McDonnell successfully completed a takeover of Dulwich Hamlet, replacing the former chairperson. They then came to us and asked us if we wanted to have a club improvement. They wanted to see if we wanted an increase in transfer budget. I said no. How about something else? Maybe let's do the training facilities. They've agreed. So when we now look at the club vision and board, not only have we got an improvement to the youth facilities, but we've also got an improvement to the training facilities as well. Both going to be completed within 4 months. So that is huge news moving forward, because the squad needs some really good intakes coming forward. We still have some really high potential players here that we're yet to see hit fruition. Some of them in the not just the intake that's come, but the one before as well, and the one before that. So you can see Oza, Tahiri and Hoovel. They're examples of the last 3 intakes, which we've not yet seen come to fruition. However, some players that have come good on their potential is Christopher Friday, Callum Coleman, both are expected to be championship players. Jedi Mandanda in that bracket as well. England Fredericks, who did seem like he peaked out at 3 stars, he's eked another one out, so that's good. And Tony Dunk as well, also another one of the players that's got potential to be a championship player. So huge moves. Eric Lynch has been an absolute hero since Rasco went. I mean, he's got 4 or 5 goals in the last 6 games, which is phenomenal for a player who was largely on the fringes up until that point. He's come in. Another one that came in did a really good job, John O'Carr. He just made 2 appearances, big goal in one of them, and he absolutely dominated in that performance. Another kind of ball-winning midfielder, really good at tackling it and getting the ball back. So, yeah. So, with all that being said, finances are looking a bit better. We're not in the red. However, the projection's still not looking too pretty. But maybe the championship beckons for us. So I'll get us through to the final, and we'll see how we go. Welcome back to the massive playoff final, Dulwich Hamlet versus Colchester. A chance for glory and to get to the championship. Biggest game of the season, save so far, and a lot at stake. So we've gone with Fredericks in goals, a back four of Brathwaite, Friday, McAvoy and Coleman, Peterson, Lynch and Spence in the midfield, and Dimitriadis, Taylor and Dunk playing the forward 3. We're going to stay on attacking mentality. It's carried us this far. Players are quite comfortable with the positions they're playing, and we're going to get straight into the match and see if we can get this over the line. I mean, I'm not sure what to expect. We've had a draw and a win against Colchester so far. Can we go just one better, just one more game, and pick up a positive result? We've been on a bit of an unbeaten run. We've had some players on form. We're without Jedi Mandanda, who's been a bit of a talisman this season, but he's in injury. He's got another 5 days before he's match fit, and the coaches said don't even risk him. It's not even a case he could have played 70 minutes. It's just an absolute no-go. So Spence with a corner gets a second chance because it was poor. Taylor and Dunk has picked up the rebound and put us 1-0 up after 2 minutes. So a really positive start. Can we build on it? Do we go? I think we do. I think we've got to go cautious. I think we've got to try and counter them now. So lovely little reaction finish from Dunk. But I think now we've got to try and maintain that somehow. Have we scored too early? I mean, it's always a worry. I think if we'd have kept it quite tense and we were going for it, I could stay attacking. But I think with the goal, realistically, I need to try and not concede. I know it's very counterintuitive. As an England fan, watching them in the Euros, that's exactly what I wouldn't want to watch. However, now that we're in that position, I think we need to try and hold on to it. We can operate on the counter attack. We've got some good pacey players on the wings, and as you've seen, Dunk's ready for a finish if necessary. But if we can just see this game out and get a place in the Championship. They'll be so big for the club as a whole that it's not worth taking a risk. First chance for Colchester, tipped over the bar by Fredericks. We've kept them quite quiet for a huge portion of the game. Just before half time, we need to keep it clean and stop them getting back into it. Taylor gets it back for another corner. It's going to be nervy, but if we can get to half time, regroup and go again. Dunn gets the header clear, and that goes out for a throw in. I mean, normally I'm looking for some extra time to try and get an equaliser or get back in the game, but I don't know if we've scored too soon. I'm worried. We've not had any chances since then. We've limited them quite well in terms of opportunities. I just think with defensive midfielder, back four quite defensively minded. We've got a ball-winning midfielder in there as well. It's just about fitness now into the final 30 minutes. Again, we're doing really well at limiting them in terms of chances. Taylor's not having a great game on the right-hand side. However, he's probably doing some good defensive work, so I don't want to change too much. So go into the final 20 minutes. I'm absolutely clock watching 100%. Colchester with another chance now. Worked it into the box. But looks like Fredericks tipped it over. They will get a corner with 17 minutes to go. Putting a little bit of pressure on now. Offside as he gets the ball back into the final 15 minutes. I think Amal Taylor is playing sufficiently poor that I'll get him off and get Van den Heuvel on. Into the final 10 minutes. Players starting to tire in the middle of the park. We've got Spence. I don't want to take Spence off. I know it's risky and I'm risking an injury, but we've just got 4 minutes of injury time to get through, and we've got a place in the Championship. Coleman with a throw in down the right hand side. Just keep it there, keep it in the corner. Spence to Lynch. Van den Heuvel. Oh, if we could have got a second game there, it was all over. We've got about a minute to play. I still don't want to make the change. Dunk will put in a corner. We just don't want to get done on the counter here. Van der Heuvel. Brathwaite lets it go. And we've got 30 seconds left before we are named a Championship club. Fredericks got the ball at his feet. Friday just needs to get rid of it. Don't mess about on the ball back there. McAvoy goes long. And we've got about 8 seconds. Peterson into Van den Heuvel. The whistle goes. And despite scoring what I think might have been too early, look at that performance from the back five. Or back six if you include Peterson. And the ball-winning midfielder. We have limited them to very few opportunities. We've taken the one that came our way, and against all odds, we are somehow going to the Championship. Yeah, congratulations! What an end to the episode! It's been such a topsy-turvy episode. I mean, Raxco went, which was devastating. We got the board takeover, which was hugely positive. We got the extra facilities. We'd already kind of secured the improved youth rating. We got the extra training facilities are on their way now as well. Again, injuries to Juddy Mandander. Getting through the playoffs, just missing out on the automatic promotion on goal difference, and then such a tense playoff final. It's absolutely incredible. We've got a lot of work ahead of us. We're going to need some really good intakes coming forward, but who'd have thought that 3 minutes into that game that would have been a winning goal for a 1-0. So I'll end the episode there. We've got a lot to do. I'll leave the next episode will be the end of season review. We'll look at how we got on through the season, how we ended up where we are. We'll look at the players we're going to release in the summer, and we'll build ourselves up ready for what is going to be an excruciatingly difficult season in the Championship. So once again, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Take care and enjoy your weekends, and until next time, have fun.